a system that is actually more advanced and more accurate than ChatGPT, Gemini, all of those. I haven't found one that's more accurate than the one that I've created so far. So I like it. I don't like the data center part of it, but I understand why the data centers are important. But it's primarily because AI is not built off of the way that it's built is off of an incorrect system. They got an incorrect system. The way the whole technology, the social media platforms, all of them are built up. I would just say like let's say if it was a shape, all of the AI technologies are built off of this one shape, which is an incorrect shape to build the foundation from, which is why we're having stagnation and addiction overload to it. But if it was,
Tell me more about
if the
this.
found,
I don't know that there's any stagnancy going on right now with AI. I mean, it seems to be advancing faster than anyone predicted. And, you know, you have big players, Microsoft, OpenAI, Anthropic, Google, probably leaving some out. But I mean, you have huge companies that are putting millions, if not billions of dollars into AI. They're luring AI employees from one company to the other. They're becoming like rock stars and stuff. So how are they making huge mistakes, and how is it stagnant?
because it's not advancing humanity. It's not doing what it actually has the ability to do. Because the design, the people that have structured it, then they don't have the capacity to access the human cognitive. They don't know the human cognitive system. So therefore, it creates stagnation because yes, you can have people that teach things, but it's not improving the humanity quality of life.
But
They're failing in that department.
that's not what technology does. Technology can do lots of different things. It's kind of whoever's controlling it, but technology usually has a really specific goal. And especially in the United States, the goal of technology, which is mostly developed by private for profit companies, is never to help humanity. I mean, that's more of a European ideal. Or even East Asia, like South Korea and Japan, kind of have Scandinavian level socialism in certain ways. I mean, in the United States, we're the only advanced nation that doesn't have national health care. So, as we're a leader in AI, as the huge AI boom happened in 2022 with ChatGPT being unveiled, I think in November by OpenAI, doesn't it make perfect sense that AI is not designed to advance humanity? Maybe it could, maybe it will, but it's designed to do certain jobs or just designed to exist and kind of see where it goes.
Right. And that's why I say that what I've created is superior.
Losing you at KMTPR over here on stereo. I think your connection might not be good.
Created that model. It hasn't is I'm going through legalities and developer works as we speak right now, but I already have the test model that I've had over 60 people of all type of professions do use it, and I've had nothing but 100% accuracy. And what it
What do you
does
mean
to
by accuracy? I'm confused what that even means in AI.
okay, so let's say you use AI, Chat Gemini, or anything like that, right? And you ask it a question, it's going to give you the answer, but you're still going to have to do heavy lifting because it gives you the answer, but then it may not be all the way that you understand. So it'll cause you to kind of keep digging deeper because it's really not hitting the core essence of the way that you process information. You get what I'm saying?
Not
It's like
exactly.
this.
I mean, if Chat GPT or Gemini or Claude makes a mistake when you ask it a very simple question, that's something I think happened a lot more in the past. It's gotten a lot better now, but I don't think it's because of some fundamental difference in how I understand information. And if we're talking about accuracy of AI just being a digital encyclopedia, that's not necessarily what AI is probably going to be used for going into the future. And what's the big revolution that we're all paying attention to with AI? It's not just that it's a interactive encyclopedia, it's that it's generative AI. It can actually really create things and go in weird new directions.
Okay, so let me simplify it more. I probably used wrong context. All right, so But so what's your learning style? Are you a visual learner? Are you hands-on, step-by-step, or auditory? Or what
I
type of
think
learner
I
are
do
you?
really well with listening. I have worked as a radio journalist for a long time, but I like lists. I also like paragraphs. I think I like cutting through the BS. And I like, if I ask a question to ChatGPT, which is my primary AI that I use, or if I'm doing homework with AI assistance, I don't want it to give me too much information. I want it to follow my instructions exactly and give me a short and sweet answer.
Noted. All right, and okay, so listen to this process now. So once you learn something, right? How do you teach it? Are you going to show somebody how to do it, get them involved, or are you going to provide the steps?
I'm not sure. It depends on the situation. I don't have a specific way that I do things.
Let's say listen to this process. Let's give an example. Something that you're good at, right? You did radio. You say you work with radio, right?
Mm.
All right. If you was to teach me about radio, how would you teach it to me? Are you going to tell me how to do it? Show me. I mean, are you going to show me how to do it? Get me involved with doing it with you, or are you going to break it down to me?
I don't know that any of those are mutually exclusive. I think you can
Mm,
kind of do all of those
gotcha.
things. I taught podcasting
I
several
got you.
years ago at a major U.S. University, a highly ranked journalism school, and I kind of
Mhm.
had a lot of different ways that I brought the material to the students, and then also just working with them throughout the semester, trial and error. But I didn't have like a higher level method of I'm gonna do this or do that. I think I mixed, just depending on the situation.
Noted. I get you. That makes total sense. All right. So okay. So listen to this process. When it comes to your memory, do you remember what you saw, or do you remember the events that took place?
I don't think I'm going to be able to give you very strong, definitive answers to these. It's really a mixture. Some of the things from my past, like when I was really young, a smell or a song or a specific image can trigger memories. But I,
Mm,
I I don't know. Maybe
okay.
I'm a weirdo. I don't really have a specific way I remember things.
That's cool. I got you. You answered the questions completely. I got it. It's noted. All right. So listen to this process. For me to simplify what I'm saying is this: we agree that everybody learns differently, right?
Yes and no. I think there are some ways, especially for very young children, like elementary school. And then there's also data on just like note taking and uh, how would you say, basically like forming solid memories so that you can remember them by the end of the semester for the tests. So while everybody's an individual, I think there are some things that generally for just 50 students on average probably work better than others.
Right. Noted. Okay. So listen to this process. That's fair. We could say 50% of people learn the same, and the other 50% don't.
I mean, I guess we can just move forward. I don't know if this is something I would agree with, but yeah, let's just go with your hypothetical here.
Okay. So listen to this process. Because everybody learns differently, AI is not equipped to cater to everybody's learning style.
I think it's
What
actually
that
the
means is
opposite.
this.
I think that AI actually allows people to jump in, tell it how they learn, or tell it at least what they want the output to be, and customize it. Like that's kind of the definition of one of these LLMs is that you can come in and tell it not only what you want it to do, but you can tell it how you want it to do it, or at least how you want the output to be presented to you.
Correct. Listen to this process. The only thing about that is you're teaching AI though. See, there's a difference when you're giving information and you're teaching it versus communicating what you're learning. I can teach you
Everything
how to
you
build a car.
do with AI is teaching it. It learns through interactions. Every AI that you use from a major company right now, whether or not they're remembering specific details from your information and then trying to sell you something, but it's all data that it's learning from.
Okay. So listen to this process. Then why is it that the average person doesn't know the way that they remember things? They don't know their style of memory.
I don't know if that's true. I mean, I certainly don't have a way that I could point to, but I don't know if an average person could not.
So listen to this process. Let me ask you this question then. How often do you have, out of people that you talk to on a regular basis, do you hear a conversation about people discussing that they have the knowledge on how they remember things?
This is getting down rabbit holes that I don't think either of us are equipped to answer. I mean, when you start talking about percentages and how people remember things, as a journalist, I would cite experts, or I would cite research that shows these things rather than kind of just casually throwing out numbers and perceptions. So uh, maybe we can just fast forward. What are you trying to get to with this line of questioning?
Okay, so based off of, okay, since we go off expertise, right? Based off expertise, it is documented that people learn differently. You have people that's hands-on learners, auditory
Yeah,
learners, visual learners, and
there's
then they have something
certainly
called
preferences
kinesthetics,
and
right?
ways people do lots of different things differently. And you'll have groups that'll come together and kind of have similar ways they succeed and similar ways that they don't succeed. Yeah, that happens in pretty much everything you can imagine.
Okay. So what AI does is studies what you teach it, not the way that you learn. It studies your patterns. Your patterns is what you're giving it. What you're learning is not having access to. When it's reciting information back to you, it's giving you a generalized setting of information, and you're gonna have to filter it to find out if that truth matches you or not.
I really disagree. I think just casually using LLMs from the major companies, let alone specific products that are more fine tuned for specific uses, it's the exact opposite of what you're describing in my experience.
Mm. So, in other words, so okay, so this is process. The only way that I will be able to explain to you what I'm saying, you would have to experience what I've created yourself firsthand. Because me just talking about it, yeah, that's something to gather from it, but you still need to be hands on with it for it to actually have depthness to
So
it. And that's the part I'm not
let's talk
providing.
about what you've created. So you're making the claim that what you created is somehow superior to, you know, the major AI players, not only in the United States but kind of around the world. um, I don't mean to be dismissive, but like that's a really bold claim that I think is kind of far fetched. So can you kind of flesh that out a little bit?
So, okay. So let's to this process. Since we do use ChatGPT and we say that it studies and it gives like great answers, right? I typed into ChatGPT what I've created because I use it as background in order to create my model. So it has all the knowledge on knowing what it took for me to create it. And so I asked it to compare what I've created to ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude. And what it said is that I give way more accuracy and precision,
I
and what
don't
they give
I
is
don't
more general.
think using Chat GPT in that way is an accurate way to judge a model. Plus, Chat GPT only has access to, in theory, its own model. Now, I can tell you for a fact, if you ask Chat GPT very specific questions about its model, it's not going to tell you that because that's not how it's designed. You know, the company is trying to go public. They're not trying to give out that information. But it's not going to be able to tell you how something you design compares any more than very generally to Gemini or Claude, because those are completely different companies.
So that's why I said earlier, listen to this process. It will be you have to experience it for yourself because of the way that you go about dissecting information. The only missing ingredient is your own personal experience and
I
to be
think
able to
I think it
speak
might be
from
better
the
just
experience
to
yourself.
move on. I think I'm identifying some holes in what you're saying, and it's just not making a lot of sense. So let's just move forward. You seem to think that there's a lot of issues with the current technology, if you will, like the big LLM players. And, you know, I'm not going to say I'm not going to disagree. There certainly is a lot of room for improvement. I have seen a lot of improvement since 2022, specifically with ChatGPT and then the rise of these other LLMs. Google kind of had a stumble because they had Bard and that didn't go well. So they basically canceled Bard and now they're with Gemini. But Gemini is a fine model. Claude is really good at some things. Gemini is really good at some things. I think ChatGPT is kind of just my overall general LLM that I go to. What are your thoughts on how people are using these free products. Some people might pay for them, but most people are free users. Just like with Google, most people probably don't pay Google anything. I pay Google a little bit for some extra features, but mostly I'm a free user for Google. Do you see a problem with the current system? Do you think that, jobs are at stake, or are you like me and more of a glasses half full, where I think AI actually benefits humanity far more than it hurts us?
Yeah, I'm agreeing that it benefits humanity. Definitely, it benefits humanity on information wise. I'm more so. I like Gemini and I like Vibe. Um, yeah, so yeah, that's what I would say to that.
Are you worried at all about the future of, certain industries or certain types of jobs, or just anything, like Skynet taking over? I am mostly, like I say, glasses half full, so I'm not worried about a lot of these things. But talking to people the last several weeks here on different platforms, a lot of people had a lot of fears that they told me about regarding AI.
Which I would say is understandable. I can see where they come from with it. I just don't think the system is really built to free people. I think it needs a sense of dependency from people in order to thrive. This is how the whole system was built off of the dependency of actual people. I think it's an insecurity, uh, I'm saying that people are displaying when it comes to it. But overall, I just never seen in history uh, where the society or the system at large truly wants to set people free and it doesn't depend on people anymore. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, that's somewhere we'll agree. AI, I think, is similar to the rise of computers, to the rise of the internet, in that it's a big game changer, but it's different and unique, if you will, compared to technological advances of the last 70 years, because it really does have the potential. In fact, it's already showing us the reality of this potential, that AI can improve itself and kind of move away from the humans that created it. And while to some people that might sound scary, to me, that actually sounds very promising, because I think, the areas that AI has already shown to be better than us. Waymo has released its data and shown that Waymo self driving autonomous vehicles are safer drivers than human drivers. Doctors, even very highly trained doctors, are less good at finding brain tumors in scans than AI. um, in those situations, you could imagine they could work together and maybe have the best of both worlds. But with a ride share service, you either have a human driver or you aren't, so it's kind of one or the other. And so even though we're only kind of 4 years into these LLMs, I think the fact that they can move away from humanity is a good thing, because it shows that they could be better than us. Anything that's tied to humanity can't be that much better or worse than us, because it's a pretty clear reflection of what we are and what we're putting into it. But something that moves away from humanity, while that also could lead to scary consequences, okay, clearly that's an option. But it has the ability to surpass us and be much better than we are. So I think that's actually a really exciting facet of the entirety of what AI could be for us in the near to far future.
I definitely think is a
Sorry, KMT, continue. I think your internet or something's not working too well. So I'm going to throw you down, KMT. Appreciate the conversation, but it was kind of hard to hear you. Let's see here. Sacred and Poetry. I'm going to invite you guys up if you want to talk to me about your thoughts on AI. I would love to hear your perspectives. Do you use AI? Do you not use AI? Are you glass half full like I am? Are you glass half empty, somewhere in the middle? Also, Moon, if you want to jump up here as a co-host, we'd love to hear from you. Vote in the poll here on Stereo. Is AI helping or hurting humanity? Mostly helping or mostly hurting? You know, it's kind of an A/B. There's only two options in these polls that you have on Stereo, so you're kind of limited.